good about having a boning knife in your hand, working up a whole animal, when you understand that you're using the entire animal. And none of it is going to waste. And practicing your craft should feel good to you to have a boning knife in your hand.
So there's one. I mean, you can see how easy that just came off. It's just a matter of just finding that seam and going right down through there. Makes sense? What I like to do is just start a little cut and then start pulling until I can feel and then hear where it's actually naturally separating.
Chef, where did you say this lamb was from?
This lamb from the North Fork Valley.
Oh.
It's a farm up there. He raises it's an Icelandic sheep, right? I don't know what the technical name is for him. Just Icelandic. It said Icelandic, so we saw the pictures of it. We tend to go a little bit longer on our lambs than New Zealand. Does anybody hunt? Have you ever broken down a deer before, an elk? So yeah. Same concept, right? Okay. So once I get the legs off, I still have part of the shoulder here. I'm going to count the ribs on the inside. I don't want to. I want to be able to see and feel where they start. So I'm going to start with the very first rib. I mean, you can see my hand. It comes through with my fingers. So I'm going to count the first rib. I'm going to count 4 ribs, and that's where I'll make my next cut. And that's where I'll start separating the rest of the shoulder from the actual ribs. Okay. I'm going to split the rest of the cavity. I'm going to need the volunteer to hold this thing. I need someone to stand it up. Nope, doesn't matter. Watch your fingers. Watch your fingers right there. I'm going to get down inside this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I can come back and I can see where my ribs start. Connect.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to cut through that most of that breast plate. And I'm going to go down right to the spine. And you can see the start of where the loin is just now starting to start. From here back through ribs 4 or 5 through 12 will be the hotel rack. Okay. So you have a shoulder. 3, 2. So now I've got my rack of ribs. So together, I do have to disconnect these. I'm gonna keep this together. I want my class to do this just for the experience. But I need to pop out this chine bone, which runs through the center of these. That'll separate my 2 racks into 2 pieces. So remember to take just even the saw. I'll make a score on either side of that. I'll score the top on either side, and I'll saw right down on either side of the chine bone. So these are the feather bones on the very top. Everybody's seen a skeleton before? It has like the little fingers that stick up from the spine. Those are feather bones. Okay. So we'll separate that later in class, and then we'll also take off these riblets, which are the bottom part. So if it's like this, the bottom part of the ribs to leave our actual rack of ribs that we get and you would sell. Okay. The riblets are great too. You can use those, braise them just like you do any ribs. So this here is going to be part of the flank. It's not very big on a lamb, not like when you get off a steer. All right. I'm going to split the pelvis here, just right down the center. And then also now separate the loin from the legs. And then that way you have your 5 primals that we've broken down. Then you can break them down even farther into your subprimals. So when you do this, you want to make sure you don't cut through the tenderloin. So obviously the tenderloins are on the inside of the animal. So if everybody's had tenderloin, they always come from the inside on the back. So these are the tenderloins right here. So I'm going to go through. And cut just to the back where I can saw down above the pelvis. And I separate my 2 legs. You want the tail? Legs. Okay. All right. Now we put it back together. My mom was telling me that they used to, in school, have to have an animal broken down and have to piece it back together like an anatomy class.
It was a race.
It was a race.
Really bizarre looking lamb.
All right. Any questions? Commissioner Arts, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef.